Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, it's like cramming for finals, but in this case, the University of Michigan is just scrambling to settle a campus strike before the new semester starts. The school has announced a tentative agreement with its striking graduate workers union after 146 days. The union leadership of the Graduate Employees Organization agreed to the deal this morning. Here's the latest. It includes 80% raises by the end of the contract, new harassment protections, along with new benefits for parents, international students, and transgender workers. Now, 2,300 union members will vote on that deal. The results are expected on Friday. Now, over in East Lansing, it's move-in day at Michigan State for 11,000 first-year and transfer students. Thousands of parents were also on campus to help see their children off. This is the first move-in day since last February's deadly shooting on campus. Interim President Teresa Woodruff says safety and security are top priorities.
We've done a full review of what we do at Michigan State, and all of that is going into a safer environment and making this both a safe and welcoming environment. As we talk with parents and students, we're hearing a lot of positives about the way in which they're feeling about the entrance into this new school year.
Classes at MSU begin Monday. Leadership is also going to be shaking up this year at the school. Over the weekend, Woodruff said she would not pursue a permanent position as president. The Presidential Search Committee says they hope to have a new president by Thanksgiving. Now, a Local 4 update with the arrest of a suspect in the shooting of a Detroit police officer who was hit in the calf. Now, we showed you video and photos of 3 suspects last week. One person has now been arrested. 2 are still wanted. The reward for information is now up to $5,000. The shooting happened back on August 11th in the area of Meringue Avenue and White Hill Street. The 3 men were spotted hanging out in a vacant home. Shots were fired when police approached. So if you happen to know anything about this case or maybe some of the other suspects, please call police. New retail, dining, and entertainment venues are coming to downtown Detroit. Bedrock announced the plans this morning. Here's a rendering of the planned development. The company says the project in Cadillac Square will break ground after the 2024 NFL Draft in April. Bedrock says the plans include a restoration of the National Theater, which first opened in 1911. Most of you should be enjoying that pretty comfortable afternoon, but just some showers could just brush our area. Brian Sherman is in for Kim Adams right now. So what's going on, Brian?
Karen, I think we're going to see those few showers early this evening, but I think most everyone dry until those thunderstorms roll in as we head into the next couple of days. This afternoon, exact track 40 radar, a clean sweep for the minute across southeastern Michigan. We've seen a little bit of sunshine, but temperatures on the cooler side as well. A little bit of cloud cover and sunshine right now over at Metro Airport. We're at 71 right now here in Detroit, 73 over in Ann Arbor, 72 up in Lapeer, and 73 right now as you work down into Monroe. We've got the northwest to southeasterly flow going on, so we've seen a little more cloud cover today and a few isolated showers. I think the showers wind down shortly. We keep a little bit of cloud cover in overnight tonight before we start to bring in a few thunderstorms, at least one round early tomorrow morning. I'll time out the storms and the high heat and humidity that's on the way. Your complete full-on forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Some co-defendants of former President Donald Trump have started to turn themselves into the authorities over in Fulton County, Georgia. They're facing charges in the sweeping indictment focusing on efforts to overturn the state's results in the 2020 presidential election. Devin Skillian joins us now with some of the highlights and also the countdown to former president's surrender. Devin.
Exactly right. Coming up, Karen. The former president announced on social media that he does plan to turn himself in on Thursday. President Trump continues to vigorously deny any wrongdoing, but he is facing that Friday deadline along with his 18 co-defendants. And today, one by one, the parade of surrenders has started. Most have been able to avoid the cameras. An attorney for Georgia State Senator Sean Still was seen arriving at the Fulton County Court Complex this morning. His client is accused of racketeering along with 6 other crimes. The state senator allegedly served as a fake elector back in 2020, signing paperwork falsely claiming that Trump had carried the state of Georgia. Court documents show he's still free on $10,000 bond. Conservative attorney John Eastman also turned himself in today. He was a close advisor to former President Trump leading up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol, offering Trump advice, in fact, on how to stay in office. Eastman released a statement saying he is turning himself in, quote, to face an indictment that should have never been brought, end of quote. Other defendants, like former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, trying to have their cases moved from Georgia state court into federal court. Meantime, bond for the former president has been set at $200,000 with conditions that he not try to threaten or intimidate any witnesses. So we are still waiting for details on exactly what's going to happen when former President Trump surrenders and shows up at the courthouse. Typically, defendants are searched, weighed, fingerprinted. They have a mugshot taken, of course. Sheriff has said that he will be handled just like anyone else who's shown up to be charged. We will have to wait and see exactly how that plays out. But again, that will be Thursday of this week. Karen, back to you.
All right, thanks, Devin. Now, we already know former President Trump is skipping the first presidential debate of the 2024 election. Now, a candidate from Michigan has been left off the stage. Organizers say Perry Johnson did not make the cut. You may recall he was a Republican candidate for governor in Michigan in 2022, but was kicked off the ballot for fraudulent petition signatures. Johnson says he's taking legal action against the RNC. 8 candidates are invited to tomorrow night's debate. You can see their names on the screen, including Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and former Vice President Mike Pence. Now, while the invited candidates are preparing, protesters say they're also planning to make their voices heard in Milwaukee tomorrow night. A coalition of demonstrators plans to march from a nearby park to Viser Forum to protest the GOP's stance on everything from civil rights to reproductive rights to climate change. City officials say no one has applied for permits, but protesters say they are planning to march no matter what. A group of Detroit teenagers getting ready to debrief the public on a life-altering trip to one of the poorest nations on the planet. The teens were part of an exchange program. Paula Tutman has been getting a preview of what they learned, and this project is really different, Paula.
Yeah, it is. It's different from a usual or what we think of an exchange program where a student goes and lives in another country with a family for so many months. This is more of an exchange of culture, exchange of ideas, but also in the end, an exchange of resources that can actually help lift other students out of poverty.
Welcome to our class.
It was a trip of a lifetime for 6 teenagers who live in Detroit, Ethiopia, one of the poorest longitudes and latitudes on the planet.
I hate the term garbage dump community, I really do, but there's no other term that describes it in each community. This is places where human waste, all types of waste are discarded, and people who are discarded, lepers and people with HIV and no other way to live, go to pull out plastic and cardboard in order to survive.
Mike Tenbush, the CEO of the nonprofit International Samaritan, headquartered in Ann Arbor, is reflecting on the trip he and a group of teenagers have returned from, where the students were both teachers and learners, like 16-year-old Dewan, who told his story to other 16-year-olds.
Like being in foster care and like being homeless at times.
In a place like Ethiopia, where America is seen as home of the rich and privileged,
they had so little, but they were still so happy to have what they had.
This is Michigan reaching out to the world to understand cultures, to find common ground, to seek solutions to fix problems that plague Detroit to Ethiopia and all points in between. So, for instance, International Samaritan took 6 Detroit teenagers to Ethiopia, and not only did they share experiences and exchange culture, but 10 Ethiopian students will receive scholarships to pull them out of poverty.
$3,000 per student covers their tuition and fees, in addition to anything else they need to be successful. So they're coming from the garbage dump. They don't have clothes, they don't have shoes. A holistic scholarship means we'll help them with clothes and food. Sometimes they could be going off to school every day, but their family has no food. Salam will see that, learn about it, and make sure that their family gets a basket of food every month to make sure they have enough.
One of the biggest lessons learned by our Michigan students from Detroit: the grass is greener on the other side of the planet.
They really felt that my story touched them in a very emotional way.
What an extraordinary experience. And by the way, that exchange continues tomorrow at the Corner Ballpark. So that is the headquarters or the facility for Detroit PAL. 4 to 6, these students continue being teachers to the public. Anyone who cares to show up, whether you're interested in donating, supporting, or just learning about life on the other side of the planet, these students who are in Ethiopia will be there to share their experiences and teach others about how they can also help pull others up by the bootstrap with this shared experience and resources. Karen.
Paula, I love the line, the grass is greener on the other side of the planet, and the fact that these young people are turning into teachers themselves, they've got to be proud.
Amazing. I love this story. Just simply amazing what they're doing.
Yes, good vibes for sure. All right, we appreciate it. Thanks, Paula.